Hello again, everybody. I hope you're all keeping well. I'm down at the allotment today, and I wanted to do a little bit of an update on how my Kalettes are doing for Kalette Crazy 2023, the grow along which I'm doing. I started these a few weeks ago, and they're doing really well. They're coming along nicely. I'm going to be potting these on today into something a little bit bigger before they go outside, probably in another few weeks. I'm also going to be showing you the progress with the single seed challenge pumpkin, giant pumpkin. So if you don't know what Kalettes are, maybe you've never heard of them before. I never heard of them before up until recently. They're basically a hybrid variety of brassica, and they're a cross between kale and Brussels sprouts. So quite an unusual thing, which a lot of people are growing at the moment. So I thought I'd try them, see how I do with them. So yeah, this should be really interesting. I'm quite looking forward to how these do this year. They're very unusual, not something you're going to find in the shops. These, so that's part of the joy of growing your own food. You can experiment with different things and grow things that you would never usually find at the supermarket. So I really enjoy that aspect of growing my own. I managed to clear just a little bit of space here to get my potting tray on. I am absolutely surrounded by plants on this bench here. The greenhouse is bursting at the seams with things ready to be planted out. Hopefully that'll be soon. I'll be planting a lot of things outside in a couple of weeks' time. So, potting on these Kalettes. Ignore these. These are just some more lettuces which I need to put out soon. Successional sowing. So I've just got multi-purpose compost here, nothing special. They're only going to be in here temporarily until they go outside. Okay, nice root system on them. Nice little root system going on. So that's always a good sign. They are definitely ready to be potted on there. So I'm going to do that before they start getting stressed, and then we don't want them bolting. That's the last thing we want, really. They're pot bound. In fact, they're going to be going out very soon anyway, because it is getting warm in this greenhouse. So I'm actually having to keep them near the opening so they don't get too hot. I'll be keeping them near this door opened. Yeah, always grab. When you're teasing out your plants from your modules, it's better to always grab the seedling leaf there, the first leaf, because if they break, it doesn't really matter, and you don't want to break any true leaves, adult leaves, and you don't want to snap the stem either. That's the last thing you want to be doing. The slugs are going to love these Kalettes. They'll probably have a good nibble at them before I do. Now, I don't actually know where I'm going to fit these. I've got a big brassica bed which has broccoli, cabbage, kale, and some sprouts in another bed. But I don't think I've actually got any beds left, to be honest. So I'm going to be squeezing these in wherever I can. I don't know where. So it looks like they're going to be one of those crops where, there's a little bit of space here. I think we'll squeeze them in there. Okay, nothing exciting. Just potting them up into compost, multi-purpose compost. And that is 5 Kalette plants all planted up for my Kalette Crazy 2023. Hashtag Kalette Crazy 2023. And here they are. That is my progress so far. So these will grow really fast. In a couple of weeks they'll be 3 times the size, and then they'll be ready to go outside, I think, into their final position, wherever I find space, of course. Yeah, that's that. 5 Kalette plants. And my single seed challenge for this year is a giant pumpkin. Just one plant, obviously, single seed challenge. And here it is. Started this last month in April. I actually had to take it home because it just wasn't germinating because it was too cold in the greenhouse. So anyway, we brought it down and it's just got one true leaf at the moment. The second one there, about to come out now. Yeah, I reckon in a few weeks' time this will be able to go outside. So yes, this variety of giant pumpkin is called Dill's Atlantic Giant. And they're said to grow to up to 400 kilograms, which is ridiculous actually. I definitely won't be taking this pumpkin home if it grows that big. I'll be leaving it at the allotment, and yeah, I don't know what I'll be doing with it, to be honest. Putting it in the compost, making it into compost, I don't know. But yeah, so that's our single seed challenge pumpkin. And the single seed challenge just allows you to appreciate every step of growth of one plant, rather than focusing on loads of different plants, and you kind of miss you just appreciate it more. You can watch every step of its growth, from seed all the way up to it's starting to trail everywhere, it's starting to flower, and you see that first pumpkin start to form, and then by October time, November time, you're picking your first pumpkin. So I'd like to show you what's going on in the polytunnel as well. Now, we had all our buckets of main crops in here on top of these raised beds, and they've now been moved outside. They've now migrated outside. They're dotted around all over the place, to be honest. There's some over there, some over there, and there's a lot of them here. 33 buckets of main crops. So we've got our Sarpomeras, we've got our Satantas, and we've got our King Edwards, and they're coming along really nicely now. We're putting on a good bit of growth there. And we've still got our kestrels in here. There's actually only 6 buckets of these, and look at the size of the potato plants. They are just massive. I've actually had to put string around them, and I've not moved these outside yet for obvious reasons. They are absolutely huge. If I were to take these outside to put more tomatoes in here, they would just flop over and snap and break and just go all over the place. But I think we're very close to harvesting these now. I've had a sneak peek at the potatoes, and they are getting to a good size. It feels like we planted these just a few weeks ago. Well, it was March that we planted them, but it's only now early May, and we're almost harvesting them. There's actually a few buds starting to appear on the tops. So potatoes, the kestrels are very nearly there, and when these go outside, there'll be more tomatoes going in. So they're all dotted around here now. So in here there's around 30 of the 40 varieties of tomato that we're growing. We've still got a few more varieties to stick in here, and also to put in the greenhouse as well. So I've just made a start on this, and my plan with these is to grow them up strings. I tie string to the top of the polytunnel, and then as the tomatoes grow, I will wrap them around the string, and that worked really well for me last year. And we're having a bit of a problem with rust on our garlic this year. We had a bit last year and it wasn't too bad, but we have had quite a lot of wet weather, especially towards late winter, early spring. It was absolutely throwing it down yesterday as well. We had a lot of torrential rain, so we're still getting a lot of rain. And yeah, there we go. The rust has taken hold. We should still get a good crop though. It shouldn't affect them too much. It's not severe, but we do need to cut them off before it spreads any further. We need to continue to cut any infected foliage off. Which I'm going to do now actually. Okay, so that's a good bit of the infected foliage cut off now. It's rust on. So rust is a fungal disease, and the main cause is soil that is too wet, wet conditions. and that's where it really thrives. So I think this bed just wasn't well draining enough. It's quite a common disease amongst garlic leeks. Usually leeks and garlic. It can affect onions, but it's mostly leeks and garlic. I did have a bit last year, like I said. Now, of course, with all infected and disease infected foliage, you should always burn it. Don't stick it in your compost bin. So I'm going to be sticking this in the incinerator. Now, interestingly, the garlic in this other raised bed over here is nowhere near as badly affected. In fact, there's only a very small amount of it on here, so it's not really affected this stuff. It's the same variety, pink Germador, and I think the only difference is really it's probably more sheltered over here, but the bed's more raised. It's probably just better, it's better draining soil. And the bit of garlic which we grew in the polytunnel, I've actually had to put tomatoes in between them for now, just to grow while these are still growing. But the garlic in the polytunnel is completely unaffected by the rust. So growing them in the polytunnel seems to have protected them from that. And the mare's tail, which is a big problem on my plot anyway, is pretending to be asparagus. But you're not fooling anyone, mare's tail. Yeah, not fooling anyone. Especially not me. They do look a little bit like asparagus, actually, when they're small. Speaking of which, our asparagus is doing quite well in this bed here. They're all up now. Obviously, we're going to have to wait around 3 years before we get anything, but it's going to be well worth the wait. We've also had a really good de-weeding session today. Got a big bag of weeds, a big tub of weeds there, and I've actually filled my incinerator right to the top with weeds as well. So, yeah, May is the time of year now where things start growing, the weeds especially. So, yeah, keeping on top of those. Now, I also want to just show you something real quick as well. These sweet peas here, which I rooted from just when I was nipping the top of the sweet peas off, to allow for that bushy growth. When they're about 6 inches tall, I'll just take the tops off. And with the tops which I took off, I just pushed them into this compost. I didn't do anything else with them. I didn't dip them in any hormone powder, anything like that. I just pushed them into some compost, kept them watered, made sure the soil doesn't dry out, and they've actually rooted. These sweet pea plants have rooted. I mean, they do look a little bit naff, to be honest, and there are quite a few of them that haven't rooted. If we can find one. Okay, that one's rooted. Okay, there are some that haven't rooted, but I think I'm gonna put these outside when I get time. I'm actually really surprised. I didn't think you could do this with sweet peas. I didn't think they'd root this fast anyway. I think it's taken about a month or so. Yeah, I had no idea that you could do this. Somebody on Instagram, I saw them doing this, so I thought I'd give it a go. And I wasn't expecting anything, to be honest, but here we go. We've got about a dozen sweet pea plants here, which we'll just mix in with the rest of them. Okay, so nothing crazy in today's video. I just wanted to do an update on how the Kalettes are doing, how the single seed challenge giant pumpkin is doing, and just show you a couple of other things that are going on, like the tomatoes I'm starting to plant out into the greenhouse, or the polytunnel should I say, and I'm having a bit of a problem with rust this year, but nothing major really. So I hope you enjoyed this little bit of a vlog video, and if you did, remember to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already as well, so you can see when it loads new content just like this. Hope to see you in the next video. Happy gardening and stay safe.